Hi everyone. Let's take a look at this bonds default risk premium problem. Okay, I'll read the problem to you. A treasury bond that matures in 10 years has a yield of 8%. A 10-year corporate bond has a yield of 11%. Assume that the liquidity premium on the corporate bond is 0.5%, and the question asks us to determine what's the default risk premium on the corporate bond. Okay, now to the left of my mouse here, what I've just highlighted there, is a formula that I think is useful. Remember that the risk-free rate is equal to the real rate of inflation plus an inflation premium, and we can also state that as, excuse me for that screen pop-up, that a nominal or quoted rate can be stated as the risk-free rate plus a premiums for default rate premium, a liquidity premium, and a maturity risk premium, and that's that last half of the equation. Okay, well, given this problem, we have some information that we ought to bring to light. So let me indicate that. DRP stands for default risk premium, LP stands for liquidity premium, and MRP stands for maturity risk premium. Now, the nominal rate, and I'm going to use of a 10-year corporate bond, I'll use RC, and I'll also use RC-10 later on, is equal to, and in this case, the corporate bond is equal to 11%. Okay? And the nominal rate of the 10-year Treasury bond is given to 8% in this problem. Okay, now we also know that the liquidity premium on the corporate bond is equal to 0.5%. Okay, now let's begin to bring some other things to light. Alright, now the rate of return on the Treasury bond is equal to the risk-free rate plus the DRP plus LP plus MRP. On the corporate bond, we can say the same thing, only now we're saying, or excuse me, on the Treasury bond we know that the rate of return is 8%, so I'll plug that in. Okay, now let's do the same for the corporate bond. Corporate bond, we have the same formula, and we'll plug in the 11% answer. All right, now we begin to look at the logic of what we have in front of us. All right, one thing we can say is that both bonds mature in 10 years, so the IP in the MRP, right, the inflation premium and the maturity risk premium are equal. So then we can make the statement that for the Treasury bond, and now I'm using a Treasury bond for 10 years as my symbol, it's 8% is equal to the risk-free rate plus the MRP, and DRP and LP becomes 0 in the case of the Treasury bond. Okay? Then on a corporate bond, the corporate bond is equal to 11%, and we know that the risk-free rate is the same as the Treasury bond, right? So that's 8% plus a liquidity premium in the DRP. Well, we were given that the liquidity premium is 0.5%. So at that point, all we really need to do is solve for it. Okay, and I'll get that down. And the answer becomes that the default risk premium is 2.5% on this problem. And I think the only thing tricky on this one is to understand that the default risk premium and the liquidity premium can be set to 0 in this problem, since both bonds are set in the same time frame, so that since they're both set to 0, it can wipe out of the equation. The default risk premium is set to 0 because Treasury bonds are assumed to have no default risk. The liquidity premium we can leave as 0 because we're comparing the Treasury bond to the corporate bond, and since both are 10 years in length, we can consider that they're equal, so we can just leave it off in terms of plugging one answer into the other equation to define the default risk premium. Okay, thanks everybody.